Books, not just for junk journaling anymore. Hey, it's Care. Welcome to my Take of the Lake. Yeah, these are books I'm gonna read. Leanne was over this weekend and we watched Chris Rock. I'm gonna learn to read. Keeps rolling through my head. This is the Books to Read haul from my 2-day stint at St. Vinny's a little while ago. Vastly different subjects, because you never know what you're gonna find. Couple of things I want to talk about. Number one is the universe is always listening to your thoughts, requests, wishes, dreams, etc., etc. I've been toying with a book, starting yet another book project, and the title, and the whole book really, is a play on Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. That title kept going through my head, and it's been years since I read this book, and I didn't have my own copy of it, and I thought, well, next time I go, months. And then I went, and holy smokes, look at there, it's brand spanking new. Spine's not even cracked. It's perfectly clean. There's no notations. Brand spanking new. Put it out there to the universe, and the universe delivered. So now I have my own copy. I can revisit it and re-enjoy it. Beautiful deckled edges. Oh, I love those when books have deckled edges like that. So pretty. And the whole idea about asking the universe or putting it out to the universe, anything that you say or do or think, is like putting in an order. Yes, universe, I'll take a copy of Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I'd like it cheap, please, and soon. Thanks. And then you let it go. And then as if by magic, it turns up. Some people call that law of attraction. I'm not 100% in on the LOA thing. I think it's how our brain works, reticular activating system. The filter on my brain, I told my brain that's what I was looking for, and the filter in my brain let me see it amongst the multitude of books at the book section at St. Vinny's. The magic of thinking big is along that same line. Putting it out there, talking to your subconscious, letting things fester in your subconscious mind rather than trying to get it consciously. Just, not try so hard. That's not to say not work, because it's a lot of work. But often we focus on things we don't want. We think about, what kind of job do I want? I don't want to work 9 to 5. I don't want an a-hole boss. I don't want a long commute. Those are all things we don't want, but yet we focus on those. Think about your day, all day, every day. I tell my dogs, don't chew your feet, instead of leave your feet alone. I want them to leave their feet alone. That's what I want. What I focus on, don't chew your feet. What I don't want them to chew their feet all day, every day. Imagine if we spent 90% of our time focusing on what we do want versus what we don't want. And it's language. Do they mean the same thing? Don't chew your feet, leave your feet alone. Don't chew your feet. If someone's coming in mid-conversation, that's kind of funny, isn't it? Don't chew your feet. I'm talking about my dogs. I want them to leave their feet alone. Is it the same thing? It's absolutely not the same thing. It's 100% the opposite. And we spend so much time focused in language and thought and conversation, what we listen to, what we say, and things we don't want. Oh, can you imagine if we shifted that to focus on the things we do want? That's the magic of thinking big. This is a fantastic book. Similar thing, talks about the reticular activating system in your brain, how your brain works, etc., etc. So I've long wanted a copy of this. I used to have it. I'm sure it's in my crazy basement somewhere, but I've not run across it. This was either 60 cents or 30 cents, depending on the day that I got it. And this is not... Law of Attraction kind of got big with Louise Hay, with her book. Oh, hey, check this out. So check this out. Louise Hay, right here under my nose. In the 80s, she kind of brought her book, You Can Heal Your Life, by what you focus on, by what you think about, by the language that you use. So in the 80s, it kind of got to be a big thing, and I'll come back to this book in a second. She's big into law of attraction. That's her whole gig. Walden, Henry David Thoreau, written in, first published 1854. Fantastic read. If you've not read it, I have my own copy. I got at St. Vinny's for a friend because I wanted her to see this is my favorite passage. So if you're not familiar, Henry David Thoreau goes to the woods and essentially lives off the grid, self-sustaining, self-supporting, very little communication, very little stuff to deal with. And he wrote a lot, and he walked a lot, and he just was one with nature a lot. And he learned a lot through that process. And at the end, he says, and you'll recognize this quote, it's often used, usually misquoted, but here's the full quote. I learned this at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live a life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. He will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary, new, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him. The old laws will be expanded and interpreted in his favor in a more liberal sense, and he will live with the license of a higher order of beings. In proportion as he simplifies his life, the laws of the universe will appear less complex, and solitude will not be solitude, nor poverty, poverty, nor weakness, weakness. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now, put foundations under them. Follow your dreams. Follow your dreams. Think big. We just get in these ruts. And I do a lot of reading to keep out of those ruts and to further expand. And having done that the last few years, I'm doing exactly what I said I wanted to do. I'm almost living the dream. We're this close. But the dream moves, right? Like a mirage on the highway as you're driving down the road. The closer you get to it, it moves. So you never get to that quote, wet spot. There is no wet spot. There is no end. You don't get to the destination and whew, that's it. You got to keep going because there's always something more to want, always something more to dream, always something more you want to do, be, or have. And so you just keep going and take a few minutes to look around at what you have and how you got where you are. You can attribute it. You can go if you leave the blame game behind and look at focus and thought, where you've been what you've been focusing, the language you use, the thoughts you have, the things you come talk about with your friends and your family, the things you blog about, the things you read about, all make up where you are today. So happy to find, again, it's a little dingy, but a beautiful book for my friend. If you haven't read it, certainly read it. Great, great book. As I said, coming back to Louise Hay, I have the original copy of this, and it was just a book. There wasn't much, it was just a pretty book cover, and if I remember correctly, just ivory pages that had text on it. Well, this, I believe, is a 25th anniversary. I'm not sure. But look how beautiful. Images and quotes. Fabulous little passages. I love this. If you don't know who Louise Hay is, she's fascinating. I think in her 60s, 50s or 60s, she started her own publishing company. And in her 70s, she learned to dance and took up painting. When she was 75, she changed her handwriting, and that changed her life. And she learned to garden all after she was 50 years old. In the 80s, she came up with this, what does she call it? The list. Well, that's helpful. It's a list of symptoms. For example, if you suffer from anxiety, appendicitis, arthritic fingers, she came up with probable causes. And then she gives you a new thought pattern so let's say you have an excessive appetite. That stems, according to Louise Hay, that stems from a fear, needing protection, judging the emotions. And then her antidote to it, I am safe. It is safe to feel. My feelings are normal and acceptable. Brilliant book. Anyway, she started her publishing business literally with a Xerox copier. She made a whole bunch of copies of this list, and she snail mailed them to different places she thought would get use of them. And like other best-selling books, somebody passed it on, and somebody passed it on, and somebody passed it on, and it became this book, You Can Heal Your Life. And it is fantastic. If you've not read it, I highly recommend it, especially right now that things are upside down and we feel like everything is out of control and bad, and it's not. It's not. Crime is lower than it's ever been, according to statistics. People are healthier than they've ever been. It's all a matter of focus and how you look at things. And if you happen upon this version of it, you get this beautiful, fantastic read. Can you imagine reading a little bit of this every morning? How could you not be perked up by it? And Louise Hay is, unfortunately, she's passed on now, but she's got such a comforting, wonderful, soothing voice and manner about her. Like, she truly believes and helps you to believe that everything's going to be okay. Everything is fine. Take a deep breath. All will be well. You'll see. Great book. Love, love, love it. Along that same line, I discovered a couple years ago a lady by the name of Emily Fletcher, and she started something called Ziva, Z-I-V-A, Ziva Meditation. And she wrote a book called Stress Less, Accomplish More, Meditation for Extraordinary Performance. She goes around to places like Apple and Google and all these great big companies, and she teaches them these simple, she calls it a trifecta of manifestation, about how to get more, be more, do more of the things that you want to do with your life through meditation, through focus, and what's the third part of her? I can't remember. Might be sleep, but don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. Anyway, I so wanted this book, but I just didn't want to pay the $27 for it. How sad is that? I found it, brand new copy of it at St. Vinny's for 30 cents. Again, put it out there and the universe delivers. Yeah, it's 2 years down the road from when I wanted it, but I put it out there and now I own it for, let's say, 30 cents. Let's say 60 cents. Still worth it. Cannot wait to read this book. Again, it's along the same lines, what you focus on. Taking a few minutes every day to just breathe. Meditation is not complicated. She simplifies it brilliantly and makes it accessible for everyone, including busy corporate people who have 1,010,000 things going on every single minute of their life. If she can do it for them, she can do it for us. And she's fantastic. She used to be a chorus line. She was in the Rockettes, I believe, and did some work on Broadway and whatnot, was a dancer, but was aging ahead of her time, getting gray hair, not sleeping, no energy, and she was young, seemingly had it all. Meditation changed her life, and now she's out changing everybody else's life with what she learned. Fantastic. Cannot wait to read that. Kind of along that same line is Hoda. I don't watch TV. I know she's a morning host or a TV show host. Isn't she the one that's with Kathy Lee? I don't know. I don't keep track. So I have no idea how to pronounce her last name. I really needed this today. Beautiful cover. It's slightly embossed, so that would just be fun to, cut up. Purple. Such a pretty book. And then inside, it's not pretty like the other books. It's very plain on the inside. But it's got your fear of looking stupid is holding you back. And then just one little snippet. This is, anybody can do this in a morning. Even on a super busy, I'm running behind morning. Take a few minutes. Enjoy your cup of coffee or your green tea or your energy green smoothie. Whatever it is. Shot of whiskey. Whatever it is. Take a minute, take a deep breath, and read from a book like this. Character is how you treat those who can do nothing for you. I love that. Anyway, I think this would be fantastic. Right next to the morning where I sit and have my coffee in the morning, I'm going to take a page and just read it every day. Every good thing that has happened in your life happened because something changed. A job, an address, a season, an outlook, and of course, underwear. Anything changing for you today? I have a list of for people who feel like today is just like yesterday, is just like yesterday, is just like yesterday, like they're living in Groundhog Day. I made a list of how to make today different than yesterday. I will find a place to link that for you. I'm not terribly good at Google Docs. Maybe I can link it just like that. I'm not sure, but different, it's up to you to make those little changes, and they don't have to be big. It doesn't have to be changing a job. It can be changing your underwear. It can be a change of route. It can be a change of venue. It can be something special in your coffee today. It can be when you get on the computer, instead of playing your same old game, it could be visiting a museum online. They all, with COVID, so many of them did museum tours, virtual museum tours. You can see the most brilliant art in the world throughout history with a couple clicks of a mouse. Why wouldn't you do that? You can decide today that you're finally going to learn Spanish so that you can go to Spain and visit Salvador Dali Museum. Decide today. And going back to Walden, if, and that's a choice, one, steps confidently just in the direction of your dreams. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to, none of that. Just take a step toward, make a dream board. These books that we make, these glue books and junk journals, are perfect venues for dream boards. Instead of a great big poster size board that you have to figure out where to put, you can make a dream board book and just have it, because it changes. Today's dreams are not yesterday's dreams. And just every day, take a tiny step toward in the direction of your dreams. And that's how things happen. Stuff starts coming together that you couldn't even imagine once you've put your order into the universe. So these are all right up that same alley. And it, a lot of people hear law of attraction and go, oh, that's woo-woo, and a lot, it earned that people think, oh, law of attraction. Even Louise Hay says, Ovaltine.
Would the doctor care for a brandy before retiring?
No. Thank you.
Some warm milk, perhaps?
No, thank you very much. No thanks.
Ovaltine.
Nothing. Thank you.
Yes, 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 yes!
Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Ovaltine?
Even Louise Hay says, law of attraction brings nothing but good into my life, which is a good thing to focus on. But life's not like that. Life throws you crap once in a while. It's what you focus on. It's what you focus on. And it's not woo-woo or magic. It's science and simple math. Anyway, next. This is a chatty book conversation. These two, I have been working on a book, and these are just research for that book that I'm working on. And it's always fun to find that kind of resource, especially for either 30 cents or 60 cents. So that's what this is for. Oh, check this out. I found these were in one of those travel books. From the last video, I had some travel books. Fun, plane tickets, ephemera. You know, they've got stamps and whatnot. Anyway, it was in one of those travel books. Gotta love that. So books for research, for projects, those will get torn up, but in the metaphorical sense. And by the way, every book that I've showed you so far has been from St. Vinny's, but a couple of the ones coming up are ones that I ordered from Amazon and some that Leanne brought. Holy smokes! On second thought, I will do the Leanne haul on its own video because there's a lot of books in there and I still have quite a few to go through here, so I won't take up your entire morning or day or evening with this thing. But she brought me this a while back, and it's all along the same line about what you're focused on. Think and Grow Rich. This is a perennial bestseller. It's been in print since I think the 1950s. Let's check, because I make stuff up once in a while.
Think and Grow Rich was published in 1937.
1937. Only off by 20 years. 1937. This is just a fantastic cover of this book. Beautiful cover, perfect condition. Spine's never been cracked. Fantastic book. Clean, no writing, beautiful. I read this at least once a year. There are people who have made their living just studying and teaching the things in this book. It's a phenomenal book. So it's right along the lines of, but different, a completely different take on it, a completely different direction to look at it from, but same process, what you focus on, what you think about, etc., etc. That one is from Leanne, but I took a mini workshop with her. Lady knows her stuff. Very, very smart. Don't keep your day job. How to turn your passion into a career. And her whole goal is to have, what did she call it? Housewives who knit be the next new wave of millionaires. Like, whatever your passion is, there's a way to do that and make money. Whether it's teach it, do it, sell it, consult about it, do a YouTube channel about it. I mean, there's just, with the advent of the internet, there is no reason not to follow your passions in a myriad of different ways. This is a book I got from Amazon because I love the title, Don't Keep Your Day Job, How to Turn Your Passion into a Career. And after taking her workshop, like I said, she knows her stuff, and she just recently did another different kind of workshop on what we're talking about, sort of law of attraction, but in The Secret. In the 90s, The Secret was the big thing, but that left out so much about this that everyone's like, oh, really? So I sit on the couch and I'll think happy thoughts and I'll think about what I want and it just falls at my feet. No. You have to take action, inspired action. You have to do the work, but it doesn't have to feel like drudgery. And she just did a whole workshop on that, but in her own way as well. So it's a big, big topic. If you're looking to change careers or do something, The Third Door is another really good book about how to get where you want to be. And it doesn't, some people go in the front door and ask nicely and they're, turned away. Some people figure out a way to go in the back door, but there's a third door. There's a window. There's a crack in the basement foundation. There's always a way in. And he teaches you about it. So, fantastic book. This one is kind of fun. Blue Ocean Strategies. What struck me here is how to make the competition irrelevant. This is a little bit of a left turn. There was something that I wanted to learn how to do, and I emailed a whole bunch of people who do what I want to do. All of them, except one, all of them said, "Oh, the market's too saturated. We can't. There's no room for anybody else. You can't. We don't need anybody else doing this. The market's too saturated." In other words, there aren't enough customers to go around. And if I help you, then you'll take business away from me, and I need all the business I can get. And to my mind, that's a ridiculous way to look at things. I've been obsessively binge watching somebody called Adventures with Purpose. And they all commingle. Adventures with Purpose they have to have over 2 million subscribers by now. And they have people who record their videos. And the people who record their videos have their own channel where some of the AWP stuff can be. AWP, Adventures with Purpose. They all cross-communicate and cross-promote. And I saw just lately that there's a guy in Australia. AWP is in Pennsylvania, I believe. There's a guy in Australia who does similar stuff to the AWP guys, but he's the only one that does it over there. And so now AWP has allowed this guy to use the AWP name so that he can get more exposure, because when one does well, we all do well. You know, there is no competition. And when you're holding on that tight, oh, mine, and I can't share, it's miserable for all involved. And so this book is all about, they talk about blue ocean means no competition. It's wide open waters. It's clean. It's wonderful, versus red ocean, cutthroat competition, worried about everything everyone else is doing, versus just stay in your own lane and have fun and do what you love and help other people. Anyway, another really good book if you're looking to grow, change. She uses the example of Cirque du Soleil. When they first started, there was a circus and there was a theater, and the theater people were uppity and snooty, and they had a lot of money and they paid a lot of money for tickets. And the circus people were, the lesser. They had 16, 17 kids and they didn't have a lot of money, and so they could pay a quarter for a ticket versus $7 for a ticket. And so Cirque du Soleil took the best of the circus and the best of the theater and made an entirely new audience. Some theater people came to Cirque du Soleil, some circus people audience came to Cirque du Soleil, but they created their own space. Thereby, there's no competition there. And even if there's a lot of crafters, there's a lot of junk journalers, there's few glue book people, there's a few people that talk about books. Even so, even in a crowded pool, you can still stand out, because what you do isn't going to be what I do, and you're going to have a different take on it. We could talk about that all day. Everyone has their own audience, and there is an audience for everybody and everything. There is someone out there that only you, if you're interested in doing something, that only you can get to. We have all heard something over and over and over and over and over again, and then in the 6th time, the 10th person, oh, now we get it, because they explain it in a different way, or we hear it in a different way, or we've heard it so much that it finally clicks. There is no competition. There's no reason to be all, it's just, to me, that's just playground K-rap garbage. A couple more and we will move the F on here. Waiter rant. Complete left turn here. We're totally off subject. Fantastic read. Not only is he a really good waiter, but he's a pretty decent writer, unless maybe he had a ghostwriter, maybe not, I don't know. But it's all about his experiences as a waiter in a fairly well-to-do New York restaurant, uptown New York restaurant. He started a blog with it just for fun, just to come home and vent, and he would write in the blog, oh God, this is what happened today. I've often thought of doing the same thing with one or many of my jobs. I still may, because holy man, do I have stories. We all have stories. Fantastic, fun read. A cannot put it down book. Extremely funny, no nonsense, and insightful. It's as delightful as it is irreverent. Really fun read. 60 cents or 30. This one's from Amazon, Barking Up the Wrong Tree. He has a blog, Eric Barker, Barking Up the Wrong Tree. The surprising science behind why everything you know about success is mostly wrong. Going back to the blue ocean strategies thing, there's always another way to look at it. And there's always numbers behind the numbers and a different way to skew those numbers. And so what we've long been taught about success, it's a cutthroat world, and you have to get a job, and you have to go to work 9 to 5, and you have to punch a clock, and you have to. None of that is true. None of that is true. I've read some of his blog, and he delights the writer in me. He makes me want to write better. He makes me want to write every day. He makes me want to write because of the way he writes. I love it. So I got his book, and so far so good. I'm quite enjoying it. Funny, to the point, smart. I love it. Last one well, you can see this one, so I won't be able to cut it out, but A Christmas Treasury. At first I got it because I like the pictures and there's a few illustrations in here. And at first I put it down because I thought it was like, I have a couple Chicken Soup for the Soul, and those are written by normal everyday people who are not writers, and their stories are, they're touching, but they're not great reading at all. And I didn't want any more of that. But when I saw who's inside this book, Laura Ingalls Wilder, Robert Frost, T.S. Eliot, Washington Irving, Lewis Carroll, Leo Tolstoy, Longfellow, O. Henry, Hawthorne, Louise May Alcott, Hans Christian Andersen. Oh, absolutely, I want this beautiful Christmas treasury, because starting December 1 through the end of Christmas season, I read a Christmas something every day, and I long to read something by writers rather than something by people who write letters to the editor. Bit of a snobbish thing to say, but welcome to my channel. Last thing, Murder in Plain English. From manifestos to memes, looking at murder through the words of killers. As you know, or may not know if you're new here, welcome. Big into true crime, big into true crime. And this book was written by an associate professor of literary criminology and forensic writing. Oh, had I known I'd have had a different major, I would have certainly studied that. And this guy is a professor of anthropology. He is a renowned semiotician and lately known for having established a new branch of the discipline, forensic semiotics. And just fascinating read about all things true crime and how words and language work into it. I think, they've caught people on how they handwrite things and the words they use. They've caught people, making fake suicide notes for the people they just murdered because they have their own language and they don't understand that. And it's fascinating to me that, in that, even if you're not into true crime, you've probably heard of the lady that, because it was all over the news for a long, long time, she always said anti-free instead of antifreeze. She called it antifree. Antifree. How can one, she was in her 50s, how can one get to be 50 years old and never see the word antifreeze in an advertisement, on the label, in a book, in a newspaper, or hear other people talk about it? Did she, for whole 50 years, did she think, they're saying it wrong when they say antifreeze? They're saying it wrong. Or did she not know what they were talking about? How do you get to be that old and not know? Anyway, she wrote a fake suicide note because the sweetheart tried to kill her own daughter to frame her daughter for killing her two husbands. She killed husband number 1, got away with it, took the kids to Disney, added onto the house, had a grand old time. Married husband number 2, murdered him quite the same way with antifreeze and rat poison. And, excuse me, the first husband was rat poison and antifreeze. This one was just antifreeze. Not the brightest bulb. So she killed her 2 husbands, and when they were coming down hard on her, poisoned her own daughter to frame her daughter and wrote a fake suicide note that the daughter admitted to killing the 2 husbands in order to protect the mom. Total bullshit. But throughout that fake note, she said antifreeze, antifreeze. Like, you might as well put a neon sign. So the language, as it has to do with catching criminals, is one of my new absolute obsessions lately. So this spoke to me. Loads of good reading material here. I hope at least 1 or 2 of these things sparked something in you. Let me know what kind of things you like to read. Because, you know, you don't have to tear the books apart. Some of them may get torn apart, but for the most part, this pile that I've just gone through with you will be read and put on my library shelves, my bookshelves, rather than torn up. Although that Louise Hay book is pretty cool. I don't know. Thank you for your patience here in this chatty vid. But it's all in an effort to help us all be more, do more, have more of the things we want to do. Have fun. Enjoy what we're doing. Enjoy today because, you know, who knows? A pandemic might come and change everything tomorrow. Who knows? Someone might declare war and, you know, things get upside down. You might as well enjoy your time here because who knows what tomorrow's going to bring. Sounds kind of a downer, but it's actually an upper. You know, it's meant to inspire you to follow your dream. Even if it's a 1 tiny baby step, start taking French online. There's tons of free ways and slightly paid ways. There's an app you can get for $4 or $5. You know, start learning French. Start planning your trip to France. Start looking at books and make your next project, junk journal project, a dream board. Either glue book or junk journal that's filled with things that you want to see in your life. And see how that goes. You have a lovely, lovely day. I'm looking at let's see if I can get it up here. Yeah, there's my messy desk. Here, I'll take it right off. Think positive. Have a lovely, lovely crafty day. Mate at the lake. Out for now.